Did you know that some of the most beautiful, functional kitchens being built in 2026 are less than 50 square feet? Most people hear tiny house kitchen and picture a cramped, frustrating space where you bump your elbows just trying to boil water. A postage stamp counter, a mini fridge that hums too loud, zero storage. But here's what the design world actually discovered in 2026. Tiny kitchens, when done right, are outperforming full-size kitchens in functionality, style, and even resale value. Today, I'm going to show you the best tiny house kitchen ideas that are actually working this year. Not Pinterest fantasy boards. Real layouts, real materials, real results. 10 ideas that can transform even the smallest cooking space into something you're genuinely proud of. And I'll save the single most overlooked secret of tiny kitchen design for the very end of this video. The one thing that separates kitchens that feel like a dream from ones that slowly drive you crazy. Stick around for that. Before we dive in, if you're new here, welcome. This channel is all about honest, data-driven tiny home content. No fluff, no sponsored fantasy builds. Just real information to help you make smart decisions. If that sounds like your kind of channel, hit that subscribe button right now and tap the bell so you never miss a new video. It genuinely helps the channel grow, and I read every comment. Now let's get into it. Here's the context. Tiny house kitchens in 2026 typically range from just 30 to 50 square feet. That's a fraction of the average American kitchen. And yet, something interesting is happening. Design publications, real estate analysts, and tiny home builders are all reporting the same thing. Compact kitchen design is experiencing a full-on renaissance. Searches for mismatched cabinet styles, one of the biggest kitchen trends this year, have reportedly grown 900% in 2026, driven primarily by tiny homes and urban apartments moving away from the outdated all-white build. People are bored. They want personality. They want efficiency. And they're discovering that a smaller footprint actually forces you to be more intentional. And that intentionality produces better kitchens than sprawling layouts with wasted space. One study found that over 55% of kitchen space is wasted due to poor planning. In a tiny house, you simply cannot afford that mistake. And when you solve it, the results are stunning. So let's talk about the 10 best ideas making that happen right now. Before you choose a single cabinet or appliance, you have to lock in your layout. Because in a tiny kitchen, the layout is everything. In 2026, the two layouts dominating tiny home builds are the Galley kitchen and the L-shaped kitchen, and for good reason. The Galley layout, two parallel counters running down a narrow space, is what professional chefs prefer. Everything is within reach. You pivot from sink to stove without taking a step. Design experts note that this configuration creates an efficient workflow that feels natural and fast. The L-shape is the second powerhouse. It opens up the floor plan by wrapping around a corner, creating a natural work triangle between your fridge, stove, and sink. It's the goat of small kitchen layouts for a reason. It eliminates the feeling of being boxed and while maximizing counter run. What you want to avoid in a tiny kitchen. The U-shape, unless your space is specifically suited for it. U-shapes can work beautifully, we'll touch on that. But in a very tight footprint, they can feel like a corridor with no exit. Pick your layout first, then build everything else around it. Here's one of the biggest mistakes people make in tiny house kitchens. They plan horizontally and forget that vertical space is essentially free real estate. In 2026, smart tiny kitchen designers are doing 3 things vertically. First, they're extending cabinets all the way to the ceiling. Most builders leave a gap between the top of upper cabinets and the ceiling. That gap is wasted potential. Floor-to-ceiling cabinetry can dramatically increase your storage without touching your floor plan. Second, they're using open shelving strategically. Open shelves on one wall only, not every wall. Keep things feeling light and airy while giving you accessible storage for daily use items. Blonde wood and stacked open shelves create a Scandinavian-inspired calm that makes even the smallest space feel peaceful and uncluttered. Third, they're installing wall-mounted rails for utensils, pots, and even herbs. A wall-mounted rail clears counter space instantly and gives your kitchen that pro chef energy. Small kitchen, serious results. One designer recently noted that adding a 15-inch pull-out pantry in a narrow gap between appliances increased storage by nearly 40% without expanding the kitchen at all. Vertical thinking and slim gap thinking are two sides of the same coin. The tiny house appliance market has genuinely matured in 2026, and this is great news for anyone building or upgrading a compact kitchen. Here's what the data says. Modern compact appliances now consume 20 to 35% less energy than Energy Star minimums, thanks to improved compressor and motor design. Many compact refrigerators outperform full-size models from a decade ago, and the industry has responded with slimmer profiles, lighter builds, and smarter energy management across the board. For tiny house kitchens in 2026, here are the appliances actually working. Induction cooktops are dominating new tiny house builds. They're efficient, safe, and produce zero open flame, making them ideal for compact spaces with limited ventilation. Two-burner induction units are the sweet spot for most tiny home cooks. And in 2026, the trend that has finally crossed from Pinterest fantasy into affordable reality is invisible induction. Cooktops installed flush beneath the stone countertop surface, completely hidden when not in use. The counter looks unbroken, prep space feels unlimited, and the cooktop is activated by induction zones underneath. It is one of the most striking upgrades available in a tiny kitchen right now. Combination microwave convection ovens are the single best multifunction investment you can make. One unit handles baking, roasting, and microwaving. Most models draw between 1,000 and 1,500 watts, practical even for solar-assisted homes. Compact refrigerators in the 7 to 9 cubic foot range store a full week of groceries without overpowering the space. Drawer-style refrigerators built into cabinetry are increasingly popular for their ergonomic design and seamless look. And for dishwashing, dishwasher drawers, single or double drawer units installed under counters, are more water and energy efficient for small households and operate quietly enough for open concept living. Game changer. In a tiny kitchen, furniture has to work overtime. Anything that only does one job probably shouldn't be there. The three pieces earning their spot in 2026 tiny house kitchens are: the rolling kitchen island. A butcher block-topped rolling cart adds warmth, gives you a mobile prep station, and disappears when you need floor space. The lower shelves hold mixing bowls, baking sheets, or small appliances. It's organized and mobile, the definition of flexible living. The fold-down table. Wall-mounted fold-down surfaces serve as dining areas, extra counter space, or temporary desk. When folded, they return the floor space to you completely. In tiny homes with open concept layouts, this is often the difference between a kitchen that flows and one that crowds. The bench with hidden storage. If your kitchen has a dining nook, built-in bench seating with hollow tops gives you a hidden storage zone for the waffle maker you use twice a year, holiday dishes, or bulk pantry items. One designer called it the most underutilized storage hack in small homes. The rule is simple. If a piece of furniture or a fixture only does one thing, ask whether something that does two things could take its place. Storage in a tiny kitchen isn't about finding more space. It's about eliminating wasted space. And in 2026, there are several specific solutions that are genuinely outperforming the classics. The appliance garage is quietly becoming the must-have feature of the year. It's a dedicated cabinet, often with a lift-up or timbre-style door, that houses your toaster, blender, and air fryer at counter level. Use them without moving anything. Close the door to hide the mess. Budget between $500 for a manual timbre door and $1,200 for a motorized smart lift version. A 2026 favorite for hands-free cooking. Designers report that clients who resist it initially cannot imagine living without it within weeks. The psychology of clear counters reduces visual stress and makes the kitchen feel physically larger. Magnetic strips on walls or inside cabinet doors hold knives, spice jars, and metal utensils without taking any counter or drawer space. Pure efficiency. Over-the-sink cutting boards save counter space and make meal prep more efficient. A slim drying rack that sits over the sink saves additional counter inches. These micro-adjustments stack up. Pull-out spice racks and narrow gaps between appliances. Deep drawers with heavy-duty slides for pots and pans. Undershelf baskets that can double or triple your cabinet storage. A pegboard on one wall with rearrangeable hooks and shelves. Every one of these solutions costs less than expanding your footprint. Use them all. Here's something the design world figured out a long time ago, but that most tiny home builders still underestimate. Perception of space matters as much as actual space. And in 2026, there are specific techniques that are proven to make a tiny kitchen feel dramatically larger. Reflective backsplashes are the biggest trend in compact kitchens this year, according to interior designers. A mirrored or high-sheen backsplash bounces light around the room, creating a genuine sense of depth and openness. When every detail is thoughtfully chosen, even the smallest kitchen can feel luxurious, functional, and beautifully balanced. Large format floor tiles. This sounds counterintuitive, but small tiles create visual noise. Dozens of grout lines that the eye reads as clutter. Large, sleek tiles, especially with a glossy finish, reflect light and trick your brain into seeing more floor than there actually is. Go bigger on the tile. Light colors on upper cabinets, darker on lower. This combination creates visual depth that expands a small kitchen rather than contracting it. The brain reads the darker lower zone as grounded and the lighter upper zone as open and expansive. Under cabinet lighting. One of the most affordable upgrades with one of the highest perceived value returns. It eliminates shadows, makes the workspace feel brighter, and gives the kitchen a polished, finished look that feels expensive. Natural light through well-placed windows. Sage cabinetry paired with expansive windows makes a kitchen feel connected to the outdoors. Natural light flooding a small space and bouncing off warm wood surfaces makes everything feel calm and breathable. Not every tiny kitchen should look the same, and in 2026, the design directions are genuinely working, not just trending on social media. Each have a distinct DNA. Scandinavian minimalism, blonde wood cabinetry, stacked open shelves, neutral tile backsplash. It feels peaceful and uncluttered, like everything has its place. In a tiny house, that kind of visual clarity makes the whole home feel larger than it is. This style punishes clutter, so commit to it fully. Modern farmhouse, cream or white cabinetry, butcher block counters, a farmhouse sink under a wide window. Black hardware for contrast, warm and light at the same time. It's the kind of kitchen where morning coffee feels like an event. Bold and character-driven. Muted green lower cabinets, open shelving, unlacquered brass taps, farmhouse sink. Or deep navy cabinetry with floating shelves and soft wood accents. This direction proves that color can be dramatic and livable, especially when it's grounded with warmth. It doesn't apologize for being small, it owns it. Earthy modern cabin, warm wood surfaces, layered textures, thoughtful shelving. The kind of kitchen that invites you to slow down and stay a while. Clean lines with enough texture that it never feels cold. The key across all of these styles, restraint. The most successful tiny kitchen designs in 2026 are edited, not empty. Every element earns its place without demanding attention. Color in a tiny kitchen is not just aesthetics, it's psychology. And in 2026, there's some genuinely fascinating data on what's working. First, the big shift. All white kitchens are fading. Design professionals report that clients increasingly want personality over safety. The move is toward colors that feel collected and intentional rather than coordinated and sterile. One shade getting significant attention in the 2026 palette is Benjamin Moore Silhouette AF 655. It's a deep, soulful brown that replaces the cold blacks of 2024. Warm enough to feel inviting in a compact space. Rich enough to add genuine drama. For those who want something airier, Raindance 1572, a steely green-blue from the official 2026 Benjamin Moore Trend palette, has become the go-to for making tiny spaces feel like a garden oasis. Both are designed to work with natural wood and stone, the dominant material pairing in tiny home kitchens right now. For cabinets specifically, the two-tone approach is having a major moment. Darker lower cabinets paired with lighter uppers creates visual depth. For a safe and proven 2026 pairing, Swiss Coffee OC 45 on uppers, part of the official 2026 trend palette, with a deep charcoal or warm espresso on lowers hits that balance of grounded and airy. The depth contrast makes small kitchens read as larger. And vertical subway tile is worth mentioning here too. The same tile you might use horizontally, just turn 90 degrees make ceilings read approximately 20% taller. Same tile, completely different visual impact. That's the kind of zero-cost upgrade that changes everything. Here's where tiny house kitchen design gets genuinely creative, and where some of the most impressive 2026 builds are happening. The understair kitchen. Transforming the area beneath a staircase into a functional kitchen is a brilliant solution for tiny homes where every corner counts. A compact sink, mini fridge, and small induction cooktop can fit into an angled footprint with careful planning. The stairs above provide natural division from living areas. Where it works best, homes with straight staircases with at least 6 feet of clearance underneath. Focus on the essentials rather than cramming in too much. The single-wall kitchen is done right. One wall is absolutely enough when it's planned properly. Cabinetry running vertically, open shelves keeping the upper section lighter, a layout that stays extremely clear. The materials do the heavy lifting. Wood adds warmth and depth, making the kitchen feel intentional rather than minimal by necessity. The corner bay window kitchen, where a home has exterior walls on 2 sides, common in houses with bay windows or corner placements. Wrapping the sink into the corner with windows on both sides floods the kitchen with natural light. While custom corner plumbing can add $1,500 to $2,500 to your build cost in 2026, the ROI and resale value is currently outperforming standard galley builds, making it a smart investment if your site conditions allow for it. The constraint of a tiny footprint often produces the most creative outcomes. When you can't add square footage, you find solutions that are genuinely smarter. This is one of the most underutilized strategies in tiny house kitchen design, and it's gaining serious traction in 2026. If your tiny home has outdoor access, a deck, a patio, a covered porch, extending your kitchen thinking to the outdoor space can effectively double your cooking and dining footprint without adding a single square foot to your structure. A pass-through window from the kitchen to an outdoor counter turns 2 separate areas into one connected cooking zone. You prep inside, finish and serve outside. It creates an indoor-outdoor flow that makes a tiny home feel dramatically more spacious and livable. An outdoor induction or propane cooktop on a small deck gives you a second cooking station for those summer months when you want to keep heat and smells out of the main living space. Pair it with a small prep surface and a weather-resistant storage cabinet, and you have a fully functional second kitchen for a fraction of the cost of expanding indoors. For tiny homesteaders and off-grid builds especially, the outdoor kitchen extension is not just a design choice. It's a lifestyle upgrade. I promised you at the start that I'd save the single most overlooked secret of tiny kitchen design for the end. Here it is. It's not the layout. It's not the appliances. It's not even the storage. It's this: knowing what not to include. The kitchens that feel like a dream. The ones you walk into and immediately think, I could live here, are the ones where someone made hard decisions about what stays and what goes. They didn't try to fit everything from a full-size kitchen into a smaller box. They curated. In small kitchen design, knowing what not to include is often just as important as what you add. The best compact kitchens feel edited, not empty. Every element earns its place without demanding attention. Apply the daily use rule without mercy. If you don't use it every single day, it doesn't get counter space. The stand mixer goes in the appliance garage. The giant stock pot lives in the bench storage. The decorative items you thought you needed? Gone. A clear countertop is perhaps the single most important factor in making a tiny kitchen feel spacious. Not the paint, not the fixtures, the countertop. Keep it clear and your kitchen will always feel bigger than it is. That's the secret. Edit ruthlessly, then enjoy the result. So there you have it. The 10 best tiny house kitchen ideas of 2026, built on real design data, honest trade-offs, and the layouts and materials that are actually working right now. From nailing your layout with a Galley or L-shape, to going vertical with floor-to-ceiling storage, to choosing compact appliances that outperform full-size models from a decade ago, every one of these ideas can be applied to a real build, a real renovation, or even a small refresh. If you found this useful, please give the video a thumbs up. It genuinely helps more people find this content. Drop a comment below with the idea that surprised you the most. I read them all, and I will reply. And if you're planning a tiny home build or renovation, check out the videos linked on screen right now. I've covered everything from HOA rules that can block your build to modular tiny homes under 90K, all with the same honest, data-first approach. Subscribe if you haven't already. New videos every week. I'll see you in the next one.